Hey, what's going on, guys? Matt here. In this video, I'm going to do a little sort of a demo slash review or whatever on this VT20 Plus amp. This is the second or third video that I've done on this amp, and I did a few, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and they were both totally unrehearsed. I didn't like them from day one, even though I got some really good feedback on them. You know, a few 100,000 views each, you know, which I appreciate. But like I said, I just wasn't happy with them. It was kind of just, you know, generally dumb videos. So I thought I'd just redo this. Yeah, just to sort of hit on this amp one more time, because I'm still getting questions on them. This amp apparently is still kind of popular. But yeah, let's just get started. So I've got this my camera set up on a little tripod right on top of the amp here. So I might be moving it around a little bit, just so you can see. But I thought I'd just start on this end of the amp. Power button's right back here. This little section right here, this is your preset area. You've got green, which is basic. You've got orange, which is effect, and red, which is song. And basically, song is supposed to take these amp models and emulate popular songs. Okay, and the basic is just basic, kind of obvious. And then orange is effect, and what it does, it takes some of the time-based effects that are on the other side of the amp, which I'll get to in a second, and it just adds those time-based effects to these amp models. Okay, so yeah. Oh, and if you hold this down, it says hold for manual. You hold that down, it goes to manual. Now this is lit up. Now all these controls, your gain, your volume, treble, middle, bass, master, that all now behaves like a regular amp. All right, not so much a modeling amp. Oh, and also, let me zoom in on this one here just so you can see there is an error. Not sure how well you can see, but it says hold for mono. They misspelled manual, which I think is kind of funny. Yeah, good job, Vox. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out. So back to these presets. If you are in green, which is basic, okay, that gives you 11 amp models here. All right. Now this little light up here, this green is standard. You have orange, which is special, and red is custom. If you change this, it gives you another 11. If you change that again, it gives you another 11. Okay, so that's 33 there. If you go to effect over here, that's your first 11, your second 11, and your third 11 just by pushing this button. Okay. If you go to red, same deal. You get 3 different banks of the amp models. So that's why it gives you 99 up here, 3 banks of 33. Is 99, and I'm not gonna go through all 99. That's just that's a video in itself. But yeah, just to give you an idea, I'm just gonna hit the E string. So that is basic, clean, standard bank, Cali clean, US blues. That's a US 2x12, a Vox AC15. Vox AC30, that's UK rock, that's UK metal, US high gain, that's US metal, and boutique metal last. Okay, so that gives you an idea. If you go to special, that's the next bank. If you go to red, which is custom, and so on and so on. Okay. So yeah, you just go through those various amp models. Now if you go to effect, if you start with this one on the standard, like I said, it takes some of the time-based effects that are, like I said, on the other side of the amp, and just adds them to these amp models. See how it's got like an auto wah, a trim, an octaver, that sort of thing. Alright, so that's that one. It's just, I could be here all day. Yeah, you get the idea. And then, like I said, red, the last one is song. And what that does, they have these amp models that's supposed to replicate some famous songs, whether it's, you know, they have one for U2, Iron Maiden, some others, I can't remember them all. But that's what red is. Okay, so let me just go back to green and green, which is basic and standard. So that's just clean. Okay, that's just a clean. All right. So those are all your amp models over here. 33 amps, 3 banks each, gives you 99 different presets. All right. Now if I'll just go down to your tuner down here. This is your tuner. And there's 2 different ways. There might be a glare on this. If this glare right here is bothering you guys, I apologize. But if you touch this right here, that puts you in your little tuner mode. Now this is set up for standard tuning. So you have 6th string, 1st string E, 5th string A, 4th string D, 3rd string G, and 2nd string B. All right, so when you hit a string, it's just going to tell you whether or not it's sharp or flat, and if it's green, it means it's in tune. So E needs to go up just a touch. There. Up. There we go. So that is, yes, it's reading a tad bit sharp. There. All right, so this is 6th string, obviously E. Let me just check them all. Since we're here, A is turned green, so it's in tune. D is in tune. G is not bad. B, and then the high string goes back over here. 6th string and 1st string is over here. Okay, so that's your tuner. Now, if you hold this button down, it'll put you in bypass and you can tune silently. If you hold that down, these 2 lights will flash to let you know that you're in bypass, and you can tune quietly, okay, without bothering everybody. If you're using this amp on a small gig, not a big gig unless you mic it, because this is only 20 watts. Okay, but still, it just allows you to tune quietly. Okay, and then if, to get out of there, you just hit that again, and now you're back on. Okay, and let me scoot this over just a little bit, make sure you can see all this stuff. This top row is your plain old gain, volume, treble, mid, bass, master volume, and your power over here, which is your power attenuator. So you can you can decrease the wattage and whatnot. So if you want to crank the amp but have the wattage low, it's supposed to, I guess, behave more like a tube amp. Okay, so you can play at bedroom volumes and still have full power, I guess you could say. Okay, and if I got that wrong, somebody can feel free to correct me, because I'm really a drummer. I probably really have no business doing this because I am a drummer, but like I said, sorry, I got some good feedback on this first review that I did, even though I thought it was stupid. All right, so yeah, basic amp controls up here. You guys know how to use all that. So down here you have some stomp box type effects, pedal type effects. And you have the value right here. You can increase or decrease the value of each one. And I think once again I got a glare, bad glare. And I do apologize. But what you have a compressor. If you turn that up, you can tell a big difference. Increase the compression. Okay. There's an acoustic simulator. value of that to make it sound. It's a little bright. That was out of the middle position. This is bridge pickup here. And then bridge is super bright, but you can sort of decrease the value a little bit. Okay, that's acoustic. And then auto wah is kind of silly. Now some of these effects are kind of touch sensitive. So this auto wah, for instance, if you pick softly, you get kind of like that. If you pick harder, it's a little more spanky, a little, But again, pick soft. So yeah, and then univibe is a tremolo, octave, brown octave is an octaver. You have a treble boost, which is kind of annoying to me. It's too much. Tube overdrive. Gold drive. You have that's called organic distortion. And then metal distortion is that next one over. That's kind of annoying too. Yeah. And what's this last one? I can't see. Oh, fuzz. Fuzz is down here at the bottom. It's pretty fuzzy. Yeah. So those are the stomp box effects that it gives you. And again, this volume right here increases the value. So usually I just leave those off. I don't use these because I've got a pedal thing on the floor, so I don't use these at all. Usually I just keep this in manual on some kind of clean setting. So either green clean or just manual, and it just gives you a nice clean tone. And then I could use my pedal board for effects. But that's manual with the amp set up like this. Treble a little past mid, or excuse me, the other way. Mid is a little past the midpoint, and bass is a little more. Now if I go to green, it's pretty similar, maybe a little brighter, but usually I just keep it in manual if I'm just playing. Okay. But that's, yeah, stomp boxes. Now over on this end you have your time-based effects, and I really wish I could get rid of that glare, and I do apologize. So this little area here is time-based effects, and once again you have a depth switch right here to increase the delay, and you can hold this for the speed for your delay. And you can also tap this too. This also gives you a tap tempo. Okay, you can just tap that little button there. All right, so starting over here, so we got a CE chorus, which is kind of just a plain old chorus. If I increase the depth of it, You have a multi-chorus. Yeah, flanger. Oops. You have a phaser. Phaser. You have a twin trim. Another tremolo. And if you can see, I don't know how well, yeah, see that? So that is the rate of the trim. And you can fix that too by just, you can tap that. You can see that? You have, next is a rotary. You can see, that's the rate. Then you have pitch shift. Alright, what's next? Filtron. I think this is an, supposed to be like an envelope filter. Yeah, envelope filter. Tape echo. That's your delay. So you can set your tap if you want to. And then you can change the increase it even more. Alright, yeah, you get the idea. And then delay. You have a regular delay. And then what's down here? Oh, chorus and delay. Chorus and delay. And again, you can set your rate and your tap tempo for your delay. Okay? So those are your time-based effects. And then over here, we have a little section for reverb, room, you have a spring, and you have a hall. All right, 3 different reverbs. Oh, let me turn these time-based effects off. Turn this off. Did I get? There it goes. You can hear that. If I go to hall, it's huge. Hear that? All right. So that was hall. Spring is all right. So that's your little reverb area. Usually I just keep it on room. Now, one thing to keep in mind though, if you have this set at a specific place with, you know, a certain amount of reverb, if you have this and this set at something, each time you change an amp model, it's going to override everything you've done here. Okay, so if, say I've got it on clean, if I change it to Cali clean, it totally overrides here. Let's go to clean. See? So now everything's back to this preset. If I go back to clean, it's back to the plain old clean preset. Then I have to fiddle with something to put it back where I had it, if I want my phaser back. Okay, so yeah, each time you change an amp, sorry, move this back over here. Each time you change an amp model, it's going to override everything you've done over here. All right, just so you know. All right. That's one thing I've noticed. Like if you have your reverb set at something, you have a flange or a phase on or something, you have your mid set, your treble, treble where you want it. If you change this, it's going to override. It's going to go back to this stock amp model. All right. But yeah, I think that's all I got. That's kind of this amp in a nutshell. Oh, let me go back over here. Over here, there's an auxiliary in if you want to plug an MP3 player into this thing, play along with your favorite songs. And there's also a headphone out if you want to play with phones, if you really don't want to disturb anybody. But I have noticed that the little power thing, if you drop your power down and turn your volume up, it still behaves like a regular, regular amp. It doesn't really take away too much of the feel of it. So let me get a. So you can drop your power. You can drop your power down, and it still gives you that same. It still sounds like it's being overdriven. You know, you can adjust your master a little bit. Then you can bring your power back up a little bit. Yeah, so that actually works pretty well if you want to play at low volumes but still want to have a bit of drive and have the amp still feel good and respond like you want it to. This thing actually works very well. All right, yeah, that's all I got. I think that's kind of the VT20 Plus in a nutshell, and you'll have to forgive the sloppy playing because I'm not a guitar player, but I just just want to throw this out here once again because I know a lot of people are still interested in this amp, even though it's 4 or 5 years old at least that I know of. But yeah, if you have any questions, just fire away. Just put them in the comment box. I'll be happy to answer them. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.